Hey everyone, welcome into the Fantasy Pros Football Podcast. I'm Bobby Sylvester, joined as always by Mike Tagliere. We're going to be talking start or sit on today's show. It's just us. You can follow us on Twitter at BobbyFantasyPro and at Mike Tagliere NFL. Tags, how's it going, man?
It's good. I can say that I'm probably doing better than you right now. And I say that because usually we get into the podcast and you're telling me about some pizza you have waiting for you or some sort of junk food. But, you know, being from an Italian family like I am, we have this home spaghetti sauce that has been basically cooking upstairs for like 30 hours straight. And I've gotten to smell that all day and I get to eat it later today. So I'm really excited about that.
I'm really happy for you, dude. I had ice cream for breakfast.
That's not even good, though.
It is? What are you talking? Ice cream's not good?
Ice cream is not good for breakfast. No, I can't do ice cream for breakfast.
Okay, you're ridiculous. Let's talk start sit. There's really no player news to talk about. So we're just going to jump right into it. We'll go running back position, wide receiver, and then we'll circle back around and go quarterback, tight end, DST to close it out. Tags, you know what? At the end of the show, I'm going to give you the whole show to think about this. We're going to make one bold prediction each at the end of the show.
All right. I'll think about it.
So be thinking about yours. We're going to get right to the running backs, but first I wanted to tell you about our shop at Fantasy Pros. You can go to shop.fantasypros.com and you're going to find some really affordable, cool shirts. We've got the classic Fantasy Pros Football Podcast, just a $13 shirt, and it's not like a cheap shirt either. It's super nice and comfortable. We have the new primer shirt as well. Just check out what they have for you. Shop.fantasypros.com. You're going to love the shirts. All right, Tags, let's do this, man. Let's start with the running back position. Obviously, we're starting the guys like Chris Carson, Derrick Henry, even Le'Veon Bell against the Giants. I know he hasn't been playing well, but nobody's asking questions about those guys. Let's talk about the players people are asking questions about. Jaylen Samuels, it looks like James Conner is going to be out again. If he is out, is Jaylen Samuels a must-start against the Rams, Tags?
You see, I saw that James Conner was expected to play. So, I mean, we're getting conflicting reports on James Conner. So, they're saying he's going to be limited in practice to start the week, but Tomlin did say, like, I've heard Tomlin say that he expects Conner to be back in the lineup. The question is, you know, what are they going to bring him back to? Like against the Rams, it's been very volume dependent, where it's like I was looking through that game earlier today, and the Rams, I want to say that they've allowed 5 different running backs to finish top 20 against them, or 6 different running backs to finish top 20, and every single one of those running backs finished with at least 18 or 17 carries against them. So, like, that's where we need Conner to get volume in this game, and that's basically what it comes down to. Is Jaylen Samuels going to be involved? I know he caught a lot of passes last week, but he's not a very good running back. He's more of like that, you know, a guy that's that hybrid tight end running back combo. So, I mean, Conner, I have him at RB17 right now because I don't feel very confident about a lot of running backs this week with 6 teams on bye. So he's definitely startable if he goes, which I'm fully expecting him to right now.
Well, let's say Conner comes back though, okay? Conner comes back. Is Jaylen Samuels still in play? And if Conner's out, how much of a lock is Samuels?
Samuels is like, I have him at RB 33 in terms of with Conner there, because I don't see this game as being very high scoring.
So you'd rather play Kalen Ballage. You'd rather play Ty Johnson.
I actually would rather play Ty Johnson. Yes. But Kalen Ballage, no, I have Ballage at 34. I don't like him this week. I think it's very possible that the Dolphins just don't give him very many touches, that they go with Myles Gaskin or something like that. Like, Ballage, they've kind of passed over. They wanted him to take that job, and he just didn't earn it. Yeah, if Conner was out again, I would move Jaylen Samuels up to probably around RB 25-ish, around that range. I wouldn't be too high on him. I just don't like the matchup. I don't think that the volume would be there. Mike Tomlin, he got on Mason Rudolph in the post-game press conference. He said that Rudolph has to do a better job getting Rudolph going. Like, he's basically mad about the fact that he was checking down nonstop. He just kept going underneath. Like, you have to take some shots down the field, and that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt someone like Jaylen Samuels.
It's funny. He's like the anti-Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell Steelers type, right? He's mad that he got 13 receptions.
Yeah, I mean, he's slow. He's basically just not taking shots down the field, and he has to do that. They want to win football games. So, yeah, I wouldn't be so excited. I still think he's like a low-end RB2, high-end 3, but I'm not excited about him this week.
So I'm looking at it right now on our ECR. You can find it at fantasypros.com/rankings and see what over 100 analysts across the industry have as their consensus for the rankings. And they've got Jaylen Samuels in their top 20 tags.
Well, I mean, I understand why people want to chase the volume, but I don't think it's a sure thing. I haven't really put too much thought into James Conner being out, so maybe it would change things, but I don't think so. I don't think I would rather start him over guys like Devin Singletary, like Ronald Jones, like Damian Williams, guys that are in much better offensive spots. And again, the Rams, you need a lot of touch to do damage against them. They haven't been particularly giving on a per touch basis. So yeah, he's like that fringe RB2. That's basically where I'd have him.
I would agree with you on Singletary over Samuels, even if Connor's out. I'd agree on Ronald Jones against the Arizona Cardinals. Damian Williams, I can't quite go there just because there's the threat of, okay, if he doesn't play as well, they're just going to make LeSean McCoy, if he's the hot hand, they'll give him all the touches. And it's against Tennessee, not a very good matchup. So I've got Damian Williams 23. I've got Singletary in my top 20, Ronald Jones in my top 20. And then somebody else that I think is a must start this week, Tags, you might like this. Maybe you disagree, though, and if you do, I want to know why. David Montgomery, he's got a good matchup. He's getting a ton of touches. I think that he's a very solid play with 6 teams on bye.
I have him at RB10.
Oh, okay. So you agree.
Yeah, I'm playing David Montgomery no matter what. He's totaled at least 16 touches in 5 of the last 7 games. He's a clear-cut workhorse right now, and the Lions...
in an incredible matchup. It's not like he's facing the Eagles like last week, and even then, he had 2 touchdowns, 76 yards.
Right. The Lions have played 8 games. There have been 9 different running backs who have scored 14.6 or more PPR points against them, including 7 different running backs who have scored 20-plus PPR points. The Bears are at home. The defense is getting behind Trubisky. They're trying to say the right things. I get it. But at the same time, this is going to be a run-heavy approach. The Bears are going to pound the ball, and they could do it against Detroit.
I totally agree, man. I mean, I don't agree on having him all the way up in my top 10, but really,
I'd start him over Le'Veon Bell this week.
I would too. Yeah, that's what I was going to say is what's the difference really between RB10 and RB14 where I have him? It's not that far. And ECR, for what it's worth, has David Montgomery at 15. Now, Tags, let's go down and play the game that we do. I'm going to give you 3 players. You tell me which one you feel most comfortable starting. Okay, we already talked about Devin Singletary and Ronald Jones, Damian Williams. I actually had those exact 3 in the first one that I was going to do. So Austin Eckler against Oakland. Okay, we're going to go Melvin Gordon as well. And let's go Devonta Freeman at New Orleans.
Melvin Gordon would be the one I'd pick for sure.
I've got him in my top 10 against Oakland.
Yeah, I think he has the best shot at the touchdown of these guys. Like, he's going to get the goal line carries. Austin Eckler's just, he's not really that guy. I don't think they ever wanted him to get goal line carries. Obviously, you know, he scored some touchdowns in his time.
When he does get goal line carries, he fumbles.
He has fumbled a few times, actually. So I do think Melvin Gordon is a guy that I'm locking into the RB2 conversation. I'm going back to saying that Melvin Gordon's a must play every week. Is Oakland a great matchup for running backs? Not necessarily. They've been pretty good against the run. These two teams do know each other extremely well. But again, Gordon's back into the must start category for me. He's a guy that can score 2 touchdowns any week.
I thought this one was really easy. It's just I've got so many questions about Gordon or Eckler. I mean, it's both of them really this week. If you have to decide between the two, it's very easy. It's Melvin Gordon. Now I've got Austin Eckler in my top 24. No doubt about it against Oakland. I mean, he's getting a ton of receptions, but to compare him to Melvin Gordon, who is very clearly their number 1, and it's not like Eckler's been good lately. It's not like he's going to steal the job back or anything like that. And then I think Devonta Freeman is a distant number 3 in this conversation just because he goes up against New Orleans, Tags.
Yeah, Devonta Freeman, it's not, I mean, the thing is, it really depends. Like, is Ito Smith coming back? It seems like he probably will, but Devonta Freeman, if there's anybody that's had success against them since like 2017, I think it's back in 2017, where he was the only running back who had a 100-yard game against the Saints, and the Saints have been a really good run defense for quite a long time now. So he has had some success. It's a divisional game. Obviously, the Falcons bring some problems for that secondary because Marshawn Lattimore is only one guy, and they've had trouble stopping him, like Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley. So it's like, I don't know if they're forced to keep extra personnel back. I don't know what it is, but Devonta Freeman usually plays good against the Saints. So I would play him this week as a low-end RB2 and just kind of hope for the best. We at least know that he's locked into like 15-plus touches, and that's why I'd play him over some guys that, like an Austin Eckler. I would play Devonta Freeman over Austin Eckler. I'd play him over Latavius Murray, Ty Johnson, because these are guys that aren't locked into that 15 touches per game, even if it is a tough matchup.
Yeah, and he's got upside for more as well. I mean, have you seen his schedule so far this season, Tags? Minnesota, Philadelphia, Indianapolis, Tennessee, Houston. All these teams are great at stopping the run. Arizona, the Rams, and the Seahawks. That's a really tough schedule, but it's not going to get any easier.
Yeah, no, it's really not, but it is what it is at this point. Their offensive line is a little banged up, but that team's going to be involved in shootouts. The good thing is that with Mohamed Sanu gone, it kind of frees up some targets, and I don't think all of those go to like Russell Gage or anything like that. So we did see Devonta Freeman heavily utilized in the passing game in the first game without Sanu, so I'm hoping that continues going forward.
So I want to ask you guys a question before we move on to running backs, okay? I heard, Tags, I think you probably did as well, but I want to set this up for the listeners, okay? I heard who Jerry Rice said is the best wide receiver in the NFL. So I want you guys at home to think, who do you think is the best wide receiver in the NFL? And now I'm going to tell you, He said Julio Jones, Tags. He agrees with us.
Yes, Julio Jones is the best wide receiver in the game. I've said it for...
Actually, we agree with Jerry Rice. I think that's a better way to put it.
Right. He listened to us and he agreed with us now.
Sure.
No, but Jerry Rice, like, the guy knows what it looks like to be an NFL wide receiver, like, obviously a great. And even if Antonio Brown was still playing, I think Julio Jones has the route running chops. He has the size. He has the speed. There's nothing that he lacks, really. And I know that some people would have said touchdowns in the past, but he kind of dispelled that rumor over the last, 16 games that he's played. But Julio Jones he's a freak.
Who's number 2 for you? Because we agree on number 1. I think we might disagree on number 2.
Number 2, it'd be really tough for me to say. I'd probably say Odell Beckham.
Wow. Okay. I'm going Michael Thomas, and then I'm going Hopkins, and then I'm going Beckham.
Yeah. I mean, they're all fantastic players. I just think Julio is just like the rare combination of everything in one.
Has Kupp moved into your top 5?
Rest of the season?
No. I mean, just best wide receivers in football.
Oh, actual wide receivers? No.
Yeah. I wouldn't go that far either. I think Amari Cooper's close. Tyreek Hill, Keenan Allen when he's healthy. There's Devontae Adams. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, Devontae Adams would be up there. Tyreek Hill's he's a matchup nightmare. Cooper Kupp wouldn't be there for me. I don't even think Cooper Kupp would be in my top 12, to be honest with you.
Dang. Okay, he's just a product of Sean McVay. Is that what you're saying?
He gets a lot of opportunity. He's a solid player. Like, I'm not downplaying Cooper Kupp. He's phenomenal at what he does, but he's very limited in what he can do. Do I think that Cooper Kupp can go and take Julio Jones's role and do that like the number ones do? No.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that's a good way to put it, Tags. Okay, let's move on back to running backs, and I've got 3 more, okay? Kenyon Drake at Tampa Bay, so not a good matchup. Now, a lot of people are like, what? Tampa Bay gives up a lot of points. Tags, they're so good against the run. You've pointed this out, and it is absolutely true. Jamal Williams, the number 2 for Green Bay, going up against Carolina, and then let's go Matt Breida, who I think is the best running back on the 49ers, but he's the number 2 there, and he gets Seattle's run defense. So who do you prefer? Kenyon Drake, Jamal Williams, Matt Breida.
It would be Matt Breida for sure. Jamal Williams is close in that territory. I have Breida at 24. I have Jamal Williams at 28, and I have Drake at 35. Drake could move down even further, honestly, because David Johnson today proclaimed that he's playing. He says that he's 100%. It's not a good matchup to begin with. And if David Johnson's going to walk in there and get, I'm still expecting this to be somewhat, maybe a 70-30 timeshare, 65-35. I do expect Drake to get some touches. I think that they're going to kind of play it safe with David Johnson. So Drake, in a week where there's so much going on in bye weeks, I mean, you can consider him if you're like looking between someone like Kenyon Drake and Frank Gore. I'd rather play Drake with the potential upside that he presents on a each play basis, and they should score some points against Tampa Bay. Yeah, I have Drake down 35, but Matt Breida is the one that I would go with against Seattle. I don't see San Francisco wanting to go toe-to-toe in that matchup. I think they want to run the ball. They want to play good defense, basically limit the...
Good luck running the ball against Seattle. They're going to have to pass, and Seattle hasn't been very good against the pass.
I disagree. Well, no, Seattle hasn't been very good against the pass, but they...
Considering who they've played, I mean,
But they haven't been very good against the run either. In terms of like points per opportunity, they've allowed... It's the points per opportunity is the 4th highest mark in the league. So running backs have been extremely efficient against them. Unfortunately, the only thing that there is like concerning about this matchup is that the Seahawks only face an average of 23 running back touches per game. Meanwhile, the 49ers, there's like something that has to give here. This is insane, Bobby. The 49ers have ran the ball, okay, with their running backs, because sometimes people will talk about the Ravens and they'll talk about Seattle. I'm talking about running backs only because their quarterback doesn't run the ball. They've run at least 33 times in every single game this year.
What? I thought you were going to say that was the average. Every game?
Touches, I'm sorry. Running back touches.
It doesn't matter. That's incredible.
At least 33 touches per game. And that's why you're seeing these like crazy high totals. Like Matt Breida, when he's healthy and he's on the field, he's getting between 12 and 17 touches per game. That's fine. Tevin Coleman has only seen 13 and 14 touches the last 2 weeks. So it seems like they want this to be somewhat of a 50-50 timeshare between those two. Tevin Coleman has a slight edge for me because it seems like he's the starter and they kind of want him to be the guy. But I'm with you, Bobby. I think that Matt Breida is the best running back in this backfield in terms of...
I think he's one of the best 10 running backs in all of football. He's really dang good at football.
His speed is so deceptive because I see like linebacker safeties taking angles to him, and it's like he outruns them to the edge because they take a bad angle because they don't appreciate how fast he is.
He's the fastest running back in the NFL. He's faster than Kareem Hunt, faster than Fournette, faster than Derrick Henry.
Yep, and it's crazy because NFL Next Gen Stats like tracks this stuff, and Matt Breida is one of the fastest guys in the NFL, like period.
And Raheem Mostert's really good too. I mean, they've got 3 very good running backs and a great scheme. Now they're missing some offensive linemen, but it apparently doesn't matter because Kyle Shanahan is the man. All right, Tags, we've got a lot more running backs to discuss, but first I want to tell everybody about Fantasy Draft. It's the one and only rake-free daily fantasy site in the business. That's right, Fantasy Draft is the only daily fantasy site where you can play contests with no management fees taken out of the prize pools, 100% of the time. Listen, as other fantasy sites continue to raise rake, prize pools are being squeezed, making it harder for players like you to win. Whether you want to call it rake, commission, or management fee, the days of paying 10, 12, or even 16% of your entry fees to fantasy companies are over. No longer are you going to lose 30% of your bankroll to the house. Sign up at FantasyDraft.com today with promo code FantasyPros, all one word, and you're going to get a free 7-day trial on your first $1,000 of rake-free entry fees. That's FantasyDraft.com, promo code FantasyPros. Don't miss your shot at $1 million in rake-free contest. Start playing on Fantasy Draft today. Your bankroll is going to love it. Void where prohibited. Now I'm looking at this, okay, Tags? We've got this tool. Who should I start? It's one of my favorite tools, okay? I've loved this tool since before I even worked for Fantasy Pros. You can go to fantasypros.com/NFL/start or just type in who should I start in Google. It's obviously going to be the first one that comes up. So I punched in these three players that I asked about: Jamal Williams, Kenyon Drake, Matt Breida, and that's the order that the experts have them in. 47% of the 59 experts who have filled out their rankings so far say Jamal Williams, and Matt Breida is last here, Tags. What's going on?
I think that some people, I'm guessing that it has to do with some people like not knowing that David Johnson's going to play. That's the only way that I can describe it. Because,
but like, why is Jamal Williams first? Why is he over Matt Breida?
That's a good question. Jamal Williams, I mean, he's like, so this is basically the best way that I could put it for people is that Jamal Williams is essentially Duke Johnson, okay? But he's scored touchdowns over each of the last 4 games that he's played. And so people are like latching onto that and he's scoring points and it's in between like 7 and like 12 touches per game, which is fine for like a flex type player. But for people to start telling me that I have to start ranking him as like an RB2, I'm like, you guys are crazy. Aaron Jones is the guy in this backfield, but it's like when those touchdowns stop for Jamal Williams, that's when you're going to see like his actual floor. And it might not be this week, though, because Carolina, they allow a touchdown more often than any other team in the league in terms of what they do per touch. They've allowed a rushing touchdown every 15.6 carries this year. So that's
not good.
They've allowed 14 touchdowns to running back. That's not good. That's through 8 games. So it's like almost 2 touchdowns per game to running back. So you can make the argument that Jamal Williams should be there right next to Breida, but I'm just kind of like taking the more guaranteed touches with Breida. So they're like legit so close for me in rankings that you can make the argument for either of them.
So Tags, you can sort by the most accurate experts on running backs, and that's what I've done for these 3 right now. So we've got Dan Harris, number 5 so far out of 150 analysts. He's got Matt Breida number 1. I'm looking at Dylan Chapin from White Wolf Sports. He's number 2 overall and number 16 for running backs. He's got Breida number 1. Pat Fitzmaurice, always near the top. He's got Breida number 1. You're up there. You've got him number 1. That's pretty telling, man, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, my question would be more like, would you start Jamal Williams over someone like Ty Johnson? I think the answer is probably it's close between those two because Ty Johnson's not guaranteed touches. Like that's the part that we're worried about, but the Bears have been a good matchup. So, I mean, if you're thinking about starting Ty Johnson this week and if you're like looking and you're like, should I start Ty Johnson or someone like Joe Mixon? I would rather start Ty Johnson this week. I just feel like his matchup is better over the last, since the Bears lost to Akeem Hicks. I mean, they've been struggling, man. 4.21 yards per carry, 7 rushing touchdowns in their last, I think it's 4 games. So it's not good for them.
I've got Johnson in my top 30, and without hesitation, like everyone's going to look at it and say, well, he only had 12 touches last week. He only had 8 the week before. Guys, Trey Carson was playing. Now he's on injured reserve. Last week they went up against an extreme pass funnel defense. They had to pass the ball like every play, and that's what they did, and it worked. And this week, it's the exact opposite. It's an extreme run funnel defense. They have to run the ball against Chicago if they're going to do anything. I think Ty Johnson gets 15 touches against a, mediocre at best run defense, Tags?
That's basically where they're at right now. I think the Bears, that's the best way to describe them, is they're a mediocre run defense. They're not a team that you need to fear without Akeem Hicks up the middle. So, yeah, Ty Johnson is, to me, is like a low-end RB2, high-end 3 this week.
Would you rather play him than Tariq Cohen?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, I would as well, but I'm looking again at ECR, and ECR's got Tariq Cohen a little bit higher. Let's go a little bit further down. If you're really desperate, you need to pick somebody up. We've got guys like Alexander Madison, Darrell Henderson with the question marks, Nyheim Hines. I don't know how much he touches the ball against Miami. J.D. McKissick, he's been getting some work. And then LeSean McCoy. Do you like any of these 5?
I'd go with McCoy, honestly. I don't like any of them.
I hate the matchup. And I mean, he had 4 touches last week, so the floor is horrible. But because of the upside, yeah, I mean, I guess.
And like, pay attention to Tennessee. Jarrell Casey, their stud defensive lineman, missed last week. And obviously, you know, Christian McCaffrey went bananas, but he goes bananas against everybody. But if Jarrell Casey is out, the matchup is upgraded. It's kind of like the Bears with Akeem Hicks losing him up the middle. So if he is out again, I would definitely say to upgrade the matchup for Damian Williams and LeSean McCoy. And McCoy, I mean, it has been a timeshare all year. So I mean, we're almost assuming that Damian Williams is going to take that starting job and he's going to walk back into 15 touches. But there's only been one time this year where there's been more than 14 touches to one running back. So I think LeSean McCoy is going to be involved, which is why I have him right around Jaylen Samuels and Tariq Cohen. It's kind of like the role that I see him in right now.
I'm going to completely disagree with you on if Casey's out, that they're downgraded. I'm not saying Casey's not like a star. He's really good. But they've recently got back Jeffrey Simmons.
He's going to be a monster. I like that dude. Like, he's good.
He's already every bit as good as Jarrell Casey. I mean, this guy is incredible. He's going to be one of the best 5 defensive players in football in a year or two.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I loved him in the draft. It was just a matter of like, can you draft him and like get over the fact that he tore his ACL and it's going to take some time to get back. It was a short-term sacrifice. This was he was one of my favorite picks in the NFL draft this year in terms of like the value they got with him.
He would have been a top 5 pick if he was healthy.
Yeah, like, I mean, I love the pick, and he is going to be a superstar at some point. He might already be, but he's a little bit small to be a plugger up the middle. Like, he's 300 pounds.
Sure, yeah, he's not Jarrell Casey.
Right, yeah, I mean, he like I said, he's good, but I do think losing Casey that upgrades the matchup, though.
All right, Tags, wide receivers. Let's see. I'm going to go down outside the top 20, and I just want to say, in ECR, some obvious starts here. Mike Williams against Oakland, great start. Marvin Jones against Chicago, great start.
I don't have him as a must start, though.
You don't have, okay.
I have Marvin Jones at 33. I don't know why.
ECR has him at 16, dude.
I saw that. It was like one of those things that popped up. Like whenever you submit rankings on FantasyPros on like the expert platform, what happens is it like gives you a notification. It'll say, it's almost like, are you sure you're this dumb? Like, are you sure?
Did you make a mistake? Because this is crazy. Yeah.
Kinda, yeah. And it's like, I don't understand why people are so high on Marvin Jones. I mean, the Bears all year long, there have been 5 wide receivers who have finished top 30 against him. We played 8 games, guys. I mean, their run defense.
30, wow.
Yeah, that's it. 5 wide receivers. Those receivers were Emmanuel Sanders, Paul Richardson, Michael Thomas, Terry McLaurin, and Stephon Diggs. And by the way, all of those wide receivers finished with at least 7 targets. I don't think that we can guarantee that for Marvin Jones, especially in a game where I don't think they're going to, it's again, this game is in Chicago. The Bears are favorites. I think the Bears are going to play a very slow paced game. Like they just want to run the ball and grind the clock, keep their defense off the field. So if you're going to bet on one Lions receiver, it's Kenny Golladay. So if the Bears have allowed 5.
Well, I'm still not betting on him either. Like, I mean, I guess you play him, but I don't feel great about anyone against the Bears secondary.
That's why that's the part where I don't understand why Marvin Jones is so high in ECR. I mean, I could be wrong in this, and he's like a one play guy where it's like one play can make that difference. But the Bears have been.
I mean, it's not like he's been great throughout the season. Week 8 against the Giants, 4 for 22. Week 6 against the Packers, 2 for 17. 3 receptions in week 4, 4 in week 1. I mean, he's just so boom or bust, and you have a bad matchup here. I mean, I've got him 24, and frankly, I would have him a lot higher, but I always audit my rankings by looking at ECR and just being like, hold on a second, that does seem a little bit too low. Like, maybe I'm missing something. So just play it more conservatively during the week, but I think you're right. I mean, he might be outside the top 30. By the way, I got that warning. Hey, are you sure? Are you sure you want to rank Mitch Trubisky in your top 20 fantasy quarterbacks last week? And I was like, yes, I am. I'm sure. And that was really stupid. It cost me 4 points in accuracy. Yeah. I mean, I still was top 20 last week, but man, that sucks.
So, Bobby, what's the difference between Sammy Watkins? Like, I personally have Sammy Watkins over Marvin Jones. And
exactly. That's exactly right. And his ECR is 36, and I've got him in my top 20.
I have him at 30, but I'm not too high on Sammy. But he's yet to finish. He has not finished outside the top 46 wide receivers in any of the 6 games that he's played this year. And now Patrick Mahomes is coming back, and it's like, he's obviously a big part of their offense. Like, why are we...
He's getting me a ton of targets, like 10 a game.
Right, we're going to fade Patrick Mahomes' number 2 option, but we're not going to fade Matt Stafford's number 2 option against the Bears.
Against the Bears. You're right, man. That's really good. Okay, what about... These guys are just outside the top 20, so most most analysts in the industry think they're very solid starts, low end wide receiver 2. I think there's question marks once you start getting this range. So I want to ask you, just in case you feel passionately about any of them, I'm going to give you 3 again. Tyrell Williams faced the Chargers. Calvin Ridley at the New Orleans Saints. DJ Moore at the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, I'm playing all these guys. I have them all in my top 22. Ridley was one that I'm higher on than the consensus. Like, I think people I want to say that Marvin Jones was like 10 spots higher than Ridley. And like, I'm like, why? I don't.
Have we forgot how good Calvin Ridley is? It's just a matter of volume. Is he going to get it? Well, now that Sanu's gone, yeah, I would think so.
Right. I don't get it. I mean, going back to when the two teams met last year, Ridley tallied 8 catches for 93 yards and a touchdown. He did see 13 targets in that game, but knowing that Mohamed Sanu's gone, like, people don't forget this stuff. Like, again, why are we attaching ourselves to 2 wide receivers against the Bears and not 2 against the Saints in what could be a shootout? This game has one of the highest over-unders on the entire slate, if not the highest.
Yeah. And we know Lattimore is going to be shadowing Julio Jones. So what's that leave for Calvin Ridley?
Right. Well, that's actually a funny point. So the last time when Ridley had that game against them,
oh yeah, that's right. They went to Lattimore shadowing because they were like, he's just too good.
They did. He was beating, like, Julio was being shadowed by Lattimore, and Ridley was beating them like a drum. And they finally were like, we don't know what to do, so we're going to stick Lattimore on Ridley, and then we're going to try and bracket Julio. And then Julio went off. So it's like, I don't know if they have the secondary to handle these two. And I like Calvin Ridley as a top 15 play. Yeah, I'm higher on him than consensus.
Is Matt Ryan going to be back? That's my only concern.
Yeah, Matt Ryan's going to be back. I want to say he practiced today. So, yeah, he's going to play. If he didn't play, it would be a little bit more concerning. But, yeah, I'm playing Calvin Ridley with little hesitation.
By the way, DJ Moore was kind of like a one-trick pony, right, last year. He's becoming a complete wide receiver. He's a must-start every week as far as I'm concerned. All right, guys, we've got quite a few more wide receivers to talk about. But first, I want to tell you about a contest we have going on, okay? So first of all, congratulations to Nelson. We just gave him the signed Julian Edelman Patriots helmet. And we've got another contest starting right now. We're giving away a signed Dak Prescott Cowboys helmet. You can check out the details at fantasypros.com/contest. It's really easy to enter. Basically, all you have to do is leave a review on iTunes or Stitcher and send a screenshot of that review to contest@fantasypros.com. Again, check it out at fantasypros.com/contest if you want details. And we can do that giveaway thanks to Pristine Auction. They're the ones that got us the helmet, and you guys are going to love Pristine Auction. I mean, there's signed helmets, signed jerseys, signed baseball bats, signed everything you can think of from every team, virtually every player. I mean, you can find some really obscure players on there because they auction off hundreds, sometimes even thousands or 10,000 items in a single day. So there's great values, and you're definitely going to find something that fits into your cave that you're going to love. Everything's guaranteed authentic from only the most trusted sources. And when you sign up, first of all, it's free to sign up. Enter the registration code FANTASYPROS, all one word. That's going to tell them that we're sending people their way. That way we can keep doing these giveaways. And it's also going to get you $5 off your first purchase. Again, that's registration code at sign up, FANTASYPROS, all one word. And check out pristineauction.com, PRISTINE auction.com. We got Robert Woods next, Emmanuel Sanders, Golden Tate. So I'm going to give the matchups here. Robert Woods at Pittsburgh. Emmanuel Sanders faced the Seattle Seahawks. Golden Tate against the Jets. Which of these three do you like the best?
Sanders, easy for me.
Me too.
I have him at 19. I have Woods at 27, and I have the Golden Tate. I have actually him. I might be too low on him, but I have him at 35.
You are. If you've got him in the 30s, you're way too low, I think.
I have him at 35. I mean, I don't like the matchup against the Jets. Brian Poole has been really good. Like, in terms of like what the Jets have allowed, the slot is not where it's at. And I know that the target floor is high, which is why I probably should move him up a little bit, but I don't like the matchup. Brian Poole's been one of the better cornerbacks in football this year. Like, he left Atlanta and good things started happening for him. But, Bobby, if someone were just looking at like numbers and taking emotion out of it, Devontae Parker would be ranked higher than Robert Woods every single week.
Yeah, I think so, man. I think so. There's people at home who are like, I'm never listening to this podcast again. These guys are idiots. Why don't you explain why you think that, Tags?
All right, so here's a fun fact. You could probably win a bet. Robert Woods has finished in the top 24. And so this is my question. I said, if you were to ask any random person, any random fantasy player, okay, just say, hey, what do you think Robert Woods is for the remainder of the season? They'd probably say like a low end or a wide receiver 2, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's about where he's ranked consensus wise.
If you were to go through his games, you'd find out that he's finished inside the top 24 wide receivers once this year.
Yep. Against Tampa Bay, which is obviously a cake matchup.
Yeah. I mean, he ranks 20th in targets among wide receivers. He's got 12 carries as well. So it's not like the volume hasn't been there. It's Jared Goff not throwing very many touchdowns. Robert Woods has been unlucky in terms of touchdowns, so he probably should have more top 24 weeks. But I mean, this matchup that they have against the Steelers is not a great one. It's better for Cooper Kupp in the slot. So I'm low on. I know that. And Emmanuel Sanders.
Meanwhile, Parker's been top 20 for the last 6 weeks combined.
Yeah, he hasn't finished worse than wide receiver 26 in like the last 5 weeks.
Yeah, yep. He goes up against Indianapolis this week. So I agree. I'm looking at my rankings. I've got Parker a little bit higher than Woods. I've got Sanders inside my top 20. I'm with you. And then Golden Tate I've got in my top 25. I think he's a strong play.
Yeah, I'm torn on. I mean, I get the targets and following that, but it was a tough matchup against Dallas, and we saw Tate struggle a bit.
It was a really tough matchup against New England, too, and Golden Tate does not care about that.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably the best matchup on the field, though, in terms of like what it was against them. But I get what you're saying, and I mean, I would be torn if I'm choosing between Golden Tate and someone like Marvin Jones, to be honest with you. Like, I might go Marvin Jones because I feel like the ceiling is higher, but it's not great.
You know when else Golden Tate had a bad matchup? He went up against Justin Coleman at Detroit, and he put up 8 for 85. Dallas wasn't a good matchup last week. He was still fine.
But my concern is like Daniel Jones. He's been very hit or miss in terms of what he does. And knowing now that, you know what, I'm probably going to move Tate up thinking about this because I did my rankings. When I inserted him in my rankings, it was before we found out that Evan Engram is probably dead. I'm kidding. He's not dead. But he's probably not going to play. He's got a midfoot sprain and he's in a walking boot, so he's probably not going to play. So if you have Sterling Shepard out, Evan Engram out, it just means tons of targets for Golden Tate and Saquon Barkley. So yeah, I probably need to move him up a bit.
All right, next 3. This rounds out my top 30. So you tell me which order you have them in. Curtis Samuel at Green Bay, DK Metcalf at the San Francisco 49ers, and then Zach Pascal at home against the Miami Dolphins.
So I have Pascal and Samuel right next to each other. So I like them both. I think that both of them are fantastic plays. I have them both as top 24 options. And then I have DK Metcalf like way down at 40, 42.
Wow. Do you really? Okay. Is it because of Josh Gordon or just because of this defense?
A combination of the two. So DK Metcalf, I mean, anybody that's listened to this podcast for a long time knows that I'm a fan of DK. But targets are not easy to come by in Seattle, and he has now seen 5 or fewer targets in, I think it's 4 of the last 6 games. And in the games that he did receive like the big target shares were games that Russell Wilson threw the ball more than 40 times. Against the 49ers, teams are averaging just 29 pass attempts per game or 28.
Why? They're playing from behind. That doesn't make any sense.
The reason is because they're averaging so few plays per game. Like there's only 53 plays per game. San Francisco's been somewhat exposed against the run over the past few weeks. So I do anticipate the Seahawks going in there to like pound the ball on the road. Especially
with Quan Alexander out. Yeah.
Yeah. And DK has that one play potential. Like he's one of those guys where it's like, you know, one play can kind of put him into like the top 25 wide receivers for the week. But do I want to bet on that against San Francisco, a team that's been like a nightmare for pass catchers? I don't, especially being the number 2 at best on his team behind Tyler Lockett.
So you have Pascal as a solid wide receiver 3. Just want to clarify.
Yeah, I have him actually as a low end wide receiver 2, high end 3.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, he is the number 1 for Brian Hoyer going up against Miami. Lesser quarterbacks have torn up Miami this year, so. I mean, Sam Darnold couldn't get it done, but everyone else has.
Sam Darnold actually...
I'm sorry, guys. I had to throw that in there. There were so many people who were mean to me. So mean when I said that I didn't think Sam Darnold was very good. So, you know what? I'm taking a victory lap on this one.
You know what? Sam Darnold could have ended that game with... he would have ended up 28 of 39 for like 270 yards and 2 touchdowns if that one catch that went to Ryan Griffin didn't get overturned, and it shouldn't have been overturned. So that game would have looked a lot different for Darnold had that happened, and people would have been like, "Oh, it wasn't a bad start for him." It is what it is. Like that.
So you're saying Sam Darnold might be a top 25 quarterback then?
Might. with 26 quarterbacks, he might be top 25.
All right, man. Next 3, let's go. Marquise Brown against Cincinnati. Robby Anderson / Jamison Crowder. Let's throw them both in there with Larry Fitzgerald at Tampa Bay.
Robby Anderson. I'm going to do it again to myself. I don't know why.
Oh, are you really? Man, I can't. I cannot.
Dude, it's so...
It does not get any better than last week. It does not get any better, and he went 2 for 33.
What's funny is it actually... literally, these are my words in the primer, Bobby. I'm going to read it off to you.
Actually, it might get better against the Giants.
I said, if you can believe it, The Giants have been even worse than the Dolphins against wide receivers. They are allowing a ridiculous 10.17 yards per target to wide receivers. Now, just how bad is that? Some people listening might not know how bad that is. Here are the top 5 receivers in fantasy football with their yards per target. Michael Thomas, 9.8. Mike Evans, 10.1. Tyler Lockett, 10.7. Chris Godwin, 10.8. Cooper Kupp, 9.1.
So they turn your league average wide receiver into Michael Thomas. That's what you're saying.
Yes, on a per target basis. That's what I'm saying, is that Robby Anderson is much.
Anderson gets like 4 targets a game.
I know, and it's sad, and I'm probably gonna regret it. But
so he's going 3 for 44, and a touchdown's gonna bail you out. I can't do it, man.
I'm gonna have some Robby Anderson in some DFS lineups this week. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, yuck, man. Big yuck. I've got him outside my top 36. Like, I guess you can play him, but I'm playing Corey Davis over Robby Anderson. And all you haters.
No. I have Corey Davis at 40.
You have him at 40? See, I mean, that's about where I've got Robby Anderson, though, so that's not really saying that much.
Yeah, we talk too much about Corey Davis. I like the player. I just hate that. I hate it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sticking to the flu narrative, and I've got Larry Fitzgerald number 1 out of these, even over Marquise Brown at Cincinnati.
I actually like Fitzgerald, and he's someone that I would actually debate playing over Golden Tate. I'm probably not anymore just because like this whole target situation, but I do like Fitzgerald against Tampa Bay. If there's one game that I think we could feel confident playing Fitzgerald, it's got to be this one. I think I have him outside my top 40 wide receivers rest of season, but I do have him top 35 this week.
So you already talked about Devontae Parker, but how high do you have him ranked? Is he a high-end wide receiver 3 for you?
Yes, he is. Wide receiver 25.
Yep, I've got him 26. What about Jarvis Landry going up against Buffalo? I would expect Tre'Davious White's going to be shadowing Beckham. That leaves some openings for Jarvis Landry. We saw Jamison Crowder light them up in week 1. This is their weak spot on the defense, Tags.
It has been, but they were also dealing with some injuries. I'm not playing Landry if I can help it. I would rather play Larry Fitzgerald. I'm honestly not. This is one of the weeks where I don't think I'm as worried about Odell Beckham. Like last week, I had him like wide receiver 25 or 26. Like I was one of the lowest on him in the industry. I actually had Landry as a better play. I had him higher in the rankings.
Did you see that catch that he made?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, it wasn't the catch that was super impressive. It was the run after. Like, what in the world? How is he that good at football? Like, if Baker Mayfield doesn't throw the ball to him, no matter what, every play this game, then Baker Mayfield's the worst.
Well, this is the gift and a curse for number 1 receivers like Odell Beckham, like Julio Jones, like DeAndre Hopkins. They see number 1 cornerbacks, okay? They're going to get shadowed. And Tre'Davious White hadn't been shadowing too much this year, but they actually, the reason that they're going to have him follow Beckham is because they had him follow Terry McLaurin last week. It was like the first time all year that he'd shadowed in coverage, but they did have him shadow McLaurin. Really well. So Beckham does play in the slot a little bit, and White doesn't go in there. But when you have a number 1 cornerback on you, it's kind of like they're going to trust him in man coverage, and they're going to let him cover you, okay? Odell Beckham is better than Tre'Davious White. He's a better player than Tre'Davious White. And I don't care if Tre'Davious is one of the best cornerbacks in the game. We have one of the best wide receivers. And if they really do trust him in one-on-one coverage, I'll take Beckham. Chris Harris Jr. is like, he's top notch, dude. Like that dude is like legit.
I mean, I'll take Beckham to get to catch the ball if the ball's thrown his way, but is he going to get open enough against Tre'Davious White to get the ball? Because Baker's not throwing it to him unless he's open.
I have him at wide receiver 16 this week, so I've obviously moved him up. I don't think that he's like a smash play, but I'm not scared to play Odell Beckham in this game. I was scared to play him last week against Chris Harris.
Yeah, I've got him in my top 20 as well. Let's go outside of the top 36 here. Obviously, AJ Green, if he plays, and it looks like he is going to play.
News. So, Bobby, right before we started recording, news came out that he did not practice today and that he...
Give me a break.
I know. Isn't it ridiculous? Like, so now they're saying that he basically after he practiced on Tuesday that he came back and was dealing with a little bit of soreness. And so now he's considered day-to-day, which means he's probably not going to play.
Dude, that's called being old. Get out there and play football.
Yeah, I'm a little upset about it. It sucks. But, I mean, it's a bad matchup against Baltimore. But, yeah, it's not good, man.
So Auden Tate week then? Is that what you're saying?
Probably. No, you don't play Auden Tate anymore.
Yeah, I wouldn't play him against Baltimore, but he's good. If he's available in your league, I'd go scoop him up. Okay, Deontay Johnson against the Rams. Let's do one more of these, and then we'll fish for some deeper plays. Deontay Johnson against the Rams. A.J. Brown against the Chiefs. Tyler Boyd against the Baltimore Ravens.
I mean, I'd play Boyd. I just know that the targets are there for him. I mean, if A.J. Green played, he'd be the one I'd play, but... Boyd actually benefits from Green in the lineup, but still, like Marlon Humphrey's going to shadow him in the slot. But Ryan Finley, he's someone that's going to he's going to have to check down to his wide receivers against that Baltimore pass rush. So I'm going to go with Boyd here. I mean, the ceiling is not too high, and I don't like Boyd very much, but at the same time, I'd play him over those guys.
I don't really like any of them. I mean, there's a reason I've got them all 39, 40, 41. Like, they're flex plays. Don't feel great about them, but they're better than the other guys. All right, guys, we've got quite a few more wide receivers to talk about, but first, I want to tell everyone about HelloFresh. It's America's #1 meal kit. You get easy, seasonal recipes and pre-measured ingredients delivered right to your door. All you have to do is cook it and enjoy. Guys, I've got to tell you, the most exciting day every month is when HelloFresh sends over a meal box, and I get to tear that bad boy open and see what recipes they have for me. HelloFresh makes cooking delicious meals at home a reality, regardless of your comfort in the kitchen. From step-by-step recipes to pre-measured ingredients, you'll have everything you need to get a wow-worthy dinner on the table in just 30 minutes. Break out of your dinner rut with HelloFresh's 20-plus seasonal recipes each week. And you can add extra meals to your weekly order as well as yummy add-ons like garlic bread and cookie dough. Guys, HelloFresh has more 5-star recipes than any other meal kit, so you know you're going to get something delicious. My favorite meal I've got from HelloFresh is Bibimbap. It was the first time I ever tried it, and oh man, it is so good. I try to cook it every week, and HelloFresh introduced this to me. They showed me how to do it, and now it's easy for me to do. So guys, here's what I want you to do. You're going to get $80 off your first month of HelloFresh if you go to HelloFresh.com/pros80 and enter the code PROS80. That's PROS80. Again, that's $80 off your first month of HelloFresh by going to HelloFresh.com/pros80 and enter the code PROS80. It's like receiving 8 meals for free, or you're going to get $20 off your first box. Again, HelloFresh.com/pros80 and enter the promo code PROS80. Is there anybody deeper than the ECR top 40 tags that you feel confident in, or at least are willing to take a flyer on?
Ted Ginn.
Oh, that's right. I should have known you were going to say him.
Yep, I have him at wide receiver 33. That's another one that popped up and said, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yep, pretty sure."
Wide receiver 33. All right, dude.
Yeah, I like Ginn this week, and I mean, yeah, I'm getting there.
All right, Marquez Valdes-Scantling's playing enough snaps that I'm willing to play him against Carolina. But my favorite in this group is Darius Slayton. ECR 47. I've got him well inside my top 40 because of what you said. Brian Poole being on Golden Tate, I think that opens up some opportunities. And remember, the Jets just lost to the Miami Dolphins. Like, they're a bad football team. Even Daniel Jones is going to put up some points against them.
Yeah, Slayton is someone that I'm going to basically go back and reevaluate that game on where the targets are going to go with Evan Ingram being out, because Rhett Ellison's not going to get the target share that he would. So, yeah, Slayton, I don't know why he's not getting more targets. They actually use Cody Latimer quite a bit.
He's so good.
Yeah,
I mean, not so good, but he's a lot better than the amount of targets they're giving him.
Right. And I would like to see him get more targets. So, I mean, he's someone that is probably going to move into like that wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5 conversation for me. But by the way, I would not play Marquez Valdes-Scantling. I think he's done. Like, so what they did last week is they actually involved, they had 4 wide receiver sets, and they were putting both Allen Lazard and Geronimo Allison in the slot. So it's very possible that they just kind of move Allen Lazard into the slot and then put Geronimo Allison back on the outside where he succeeded earlier in his career, and then put Valdes-Scantling in a reserve role, because he's not being targeted by Aaron Rodgers at all.
Yep, I think that's fair, man. Okay, what about Josh Gordon? You playing him against the 49ers, or are we going to wait and see here?
I would prefer to wait a week. Just we don't even know if he's going to play. That game's on Monday night, so you'd have to have like a replacement. I actually think Deebo Samuel, if you want to play Gordon, if you're like dead set on it, I would say grab Deebo Samuel as someone that you could plug in case Gordon doesn't go.
I think that's a good way to put it. I mean, I've got him outside my top 45. I'm not playing him. I'm playing Josh Gordon. Like I've said, I've got him in a lot of leagues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ideally, you just wait a week on guys that are coming off multi-week injuries, and especially one that's coming to a new team and playing against the 49ers.
All right, quarterback, we've got 5 really easy ones. Lamar Jackson every week. Patrick Mahomes every week. Drew Brees against Atlanta, definitely. Aaron Rodgers, I would say pretty much every week at this point. He gets Carolina. Kyler Murray at Tampa Bay, definitely a start. Now, outside of that, we play Russell Wilson against San Francisco tags.
I mean, you kind of have to. I mean, who are you going to play over him? Like, you going to grab Tannehill or Derek Carr and start them? No.
Would you play, if Jameis Winston's available in your league, he goes up against Arizona?
Yeah, I'd play Jameis Winston.
Yeah, he's going to throw the ball. He's going to throw 8 interceptions, but he's also going to throw for 800 yards. Like, would you play him over Wilson?
I would. I would actually play Kyler Murray, Jameis Winston, Matt Ryan, and Josh Allen, and probably Phillip Rivers too. I have Russell Wilson.
Wow, man. You're not messing around.
I have Russell Wilson at 10. So it's like, I mean, honestly, I'm really concerned about that game in terms of like the volume that's going to come out of it. I mean, I love Russell Wilson. He's efficient as hell.
Well, I think Wilson runs the ball in this game. I mean, we've seen him a couple games. 8 carries, 9 carries against the Browns, 7 carries against the Saints. They need to win this game. Russell Wilson's coming out to play. I think I've got him with ECR at QB6.
Yeah. You know what? I'm about to say something just because I want to say it on the podcast, because I want people to hear this stat, because I want you to win bets. Like, I want you to make a bar bet. You could bet someone at a bar, say Aaron Rodgers has finished outside the top 22 quarterbacks more often than he's finished in the top 10 this year. Now, Packers fans, don't come at me. Don't come at me. Like, I've talked in this podcast, and I love when people tell me that I'm too much of a homer, and I'm like, have people not listened to me say that Aaron Rodgers is the most talented quarterback that's ever played the game?
Right. Like, Tags has taken so much hate for saying Aaron Rodgers is better than Tom Brady.
Yeah. In terms of, like, everything equal, they play for the same coach, they play on the same team. Aaron Rodgers is more talented. Tom Brady is...
Even Tom Brady thinks that. He said it.
He has said that himself. So, I mean, Brady says that, but Brady's got ice in his veins, dude. That dude does not care about anything. And, like, I'll take him in the fourth quarter over any quarterback in history, 100%. But Rodgers, that's just a bar bet. I wanted to tell you guys that one because I thought it was crazy when I was researching the game this week, because it's like, wow.
Hey, Tags, who has the best fourth quarter quarterback rating in NFL history?
Is it Jay Cutler? No, it's probably, I mean, hold on a second. Is it Matthew Stafford?
It's Aaron Rodgers, man. And number 2, Tony Romo. It is not Tom Brady. And in the playoffs, guess who it is? It's Aaron Rodgers, guys.
I'll take Brady's championships on that one. No, I'm not even getting into that.
I'm taking his championships and I'm taking his defenses. I would love to see Aaron Rodgers with Bill Belichick, though. Let's move on to, so you said Russell Wilson at 10. Jameis Winston's a great play. I agree. Matt Ryan, great play against the Saints. You already mentioned it's going to be a shootout. Josh Allen is a good play against Cleveland. I've got him number 9. ECR has him number 11. What about Dak Prescott faced the Minnesota Vikings?
You kind of have to play him. Their secondary hasn't looked like, I have Dak Prescott at 11 for what it's worth. So him and Russell Wilson are in that same category. They don't have great matchups.
Dak Prescott has 18 plus points in every game but 1 this year, 20 plus in every game but 2.
Right. And well, the concern is that there's only been 3 quarterbacks who have scored more than 16 fantasy points against the Vikings this year. And all of those quarterbacks threw the ball at least 40 times. That's not a number that Prescott hits on a regular basis. They're coming out of a short week. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott should be heavily utilized in that game. But here's the thing. The reason I'm not as scared about Dak, though, is because Minnesota's secondary has looked like beatable. I think their run defense is actually better, where it's like Xavier Rhodes used to like legit shut down number 1 receivers. He's looking clunky out there. Amari Cooper's like obviously, you know, top 5 route runner in the game. And if you were to watch, like, go back, if you have NFL Game Pass, go back and watch Devontae Adams run routes against Xavier Rhodes. Like, he legit was falling down, and Amari Cooper is that dude. Like, he's the guy that can make you do that too. So Rhodes is not scary anymore in coverage. So I mean, Gallup is going to be up against Trey Waynes. Waynes has been struggling this year. Like, their secondary just hasn't been very good. So I think Prescott's playable.
ECR has him at 8. I've got him at 11, Tags. Would you play Phillip Rivers over him against Oakland?
I would play. Yeah, Oakland's such a good matchup. It's hard not to.
Agree. I'm playing Rivers over Prescott. I'm also playing Jimmy G over Prescott, Tags.
I'm not doing that.